Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking on Reviews. Back to talk more stuff today. Let me get this all worked out a little bit better. So to give you some context here, I just uploaded the first review of episode 1 of that show, The Island. The Island. And it's awful. It's hilariously awful. And created by and written and directed by Neil LaBute, who used to make edgy, controversial, hard to watch shows about complicated people, the darkness in people, the stuff that we don't show each other. Very Todd Solondz kind of filmmaking. And it was, he got some big stars to be in his movies, and it was about difficult subject matter. And then he makes that god-awful Lost clone. Well, this show is called Unbelievable. We're going to be reviewing episode 1. It's also a limited series, same as The Island. And the one thing that just struck me right away about this show is that this feels like something Neil LaBute would have made when he was in the early to mid 90s and late 90s. I think Nurse Betty's probably from the late to early 2000s that he was making all right stuff. Stuff that was really heavy and darkly funny at times. This is like a no-holds-barred, clinical look at least this first episode is, of a rape. The beginning of a rape case. And the terrible things that a victim will go through. Or can go through. This is based on real events. And I just wanted to get that off my chest, though, about the Neil LaBute thing. Like, this is something that he would have directed. I just think it's a funny contrast that I'm watching something immediately after the other thing that is not like that guy's other work, and then I immediately watch something that would be more like his work. That's better. Also, when I saw Toni Collette was in this show and Merritt Wever, I was on. This episode does not include them. But it's a fascinating look, and dark and sad and tragic and true. This feels real. This doesn't feel like some SVU episode. Although I did think that I figured out who the rapist was, like, right away. And I kind of cheated to the end of the show just to see if I was right. I don't think I was. I believe I was wrong, but that would be the only thing that I didn't like, is that if I had figured out who the rapist was in this, then I would have. I don't know why I feel bad. I shouldn't. It actually made me feel worse for a little while, thinking I figured it out, and knowing what the implications of that was and how difficult it was. Like, oh, I'm kind of wish I wasn't right. Thankfully, I'm not. I don't know if thankfully is the right word. Because this is a difficult sit, but not so difficult. Like, this isn't entertainment, okay? This is like slice of life. This is watching what it's like for women and having to report these things, and some of the reasons why people don't come forward are dealt with here without saying that they're dealing with them. They're dealing with them. Like how you tell the same story a bunch of times, and I feel like the character would start making mistakes. When you haven't slept and you've been through this trauma and people keep asking you the same story over and over and over again, it would maybe turn into a game of telephone as far as the story goes. That on top of this character, her name is Marie. She's played really greatly by this girl named Caitlin Dever, who is an unsympathetic, kind of an unsympathetic victim. Because they show her as she is in real life, but, and a victim. So they kind of make, they plant doubt in your head, and they plant doubt in her head that anything happened. And they also throw in the fact that she's been through a tough amount of stuff, and also because of those tough things, she's been difficult, and she's done things that would create almost, kind of a logical thought process that maybe she's not telling the truth. none of those kind of things feel like they're victim blaming or victim shaming. It feels like just life. Like it always seems so easy on shows. They just cookie cutter around, through the things to get to the, like on an SVU type of show where they'll throw in a twist or some crap like that. But life just doesn't always have those twists. Sometimes life is really straightforward and ugly and sad. And that's what this does. This shows. Because you begin to doubt this person's story as well. Because even, like, full spoilers, okay, if you haven't seen this, she even doubts herself. And it becomes even more difficult for the cops to do their job when they can't get a consistent story from her. And that's another kind of crazy thing. The two cops in this episode that are the first, like the detectives before things escalate further. Because I almost felt like this was like a one-off. Like this was going to be an anthology show. Because this felt like a complete movie. Where I wasn't sure if it was just going to go on. Especially by the end of this. I was like, oh God, this is probably the end. But one of the cops is played by Patrick Starr from SpongeBob, otherwise known as Bill Fagerbach from Coach. The guy who talks like this, hey, SpongeBob, well, he's one of the cops in this. He's really great. At first I was like, is he ever going to get a line? But he's really great in this. And the other cop, played by Eric Lang, plays Detective Parker. Eric Lang I love, because he's that guy who used to have, I used to say the guy with the cool beard. He was on Lost. He played Rosinski for a while later on in the series. He was alluded to in season 2, but we didn't see him until season 4 or 5. I don't remember completely, but yeah, he's all clean shaven. I knew I recognized him though. He's really great too. Is these two cops that are just trying to do their jobs well, properly. They care. They're also very clinical. This isn't regular TV cop stuff. And none of this is dealt with in the usual television cop way. It's done very, like I said, like I keep using the word clinical. Detailed and specific, like a crime would be investigated. Even the uncomfortability of the hospital and all that stuff that's part of this type of crime is all dealt with here in about an hour. And yeah, like I said, the cops, they're just doing their jobs. And they have their asides, they have the way that they talk when they're talking about the girl, but it's never derogatory. It's just kind of letter of what do we have in front of us? What would you think if you had this in front of you? Would you doubt this person or would you just blindly believe them? That kind of thing. They want to help her too, but they can't help her inconsistent. But I guess that what's also weird is they can't help but they don't see the fact that maybe all these times that they've been making her tell the story over and over and over again, that things are going to get messed up along the way. And then factoring in her past that has been really awful, like her having to eat dog food and things like that. The level of self-hatred somebody would have and low self-esteem and confidence and worth that the person, like I can relate. I mean, I've never been raped, but I know difficult life, and it can make you be a prick sometimes, and act out and do things that kind of like would make it seem inconsistent. If somebody outside looking in at your life is, and they capture all of this heartbreakingly realistic. And that's all I'm really going to say about it because it's ongoing. There's like 8 episodes of this, and I've only finished episode 1. I know that Toni Collette and Merritt Wever come into the next episode, but where it leaves off, I really thought she's gonna kill herself. She's going to kill herself. Like they don't believe her, and they were gonna find her body, like down the river, and that would have been the case that this was based on. And also interesting that this case takes place like in the probably want to say like early 2000s. Because of the flip phones. Maybe 2007, I can't remember what it said at the beginning of the thing. But anyway, just really quickly. Okay. That's it. I highly recommend this, as long as you know, like, if you're ready for it. Because, like I said, this isn't entertainment. This is almost educational. It's important for people that maybe don't understand what women go through. Like, it helps me understand more about what women go through and why people don't come forward and all the difficulties that come with it, even if you're telling the truth or it's complicated. So, I don't really know how to say, like, it's a really well done show, really well acted, very realistic show, hard to deal with. If you've gone through similar trauma, this will probably cause problems for you. It may cause problems. I wouldn't want to watch this by myself if I had gone through something like this. It's done in really great detail. Let me tell you something. It's very detailed through this whole thing. They don't so much focus on the attack, but the emotions of the aftermath. They do focus enough on the attack, though, that it is going to be disturbing for some people. That being said, if you can handle that, definitely, check it out. I don't know if I'm going to review any more of these. I wanted to get a first episode out there, but so far, it's pretty good. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say, just that it's heavy, man. It's way heavier than the last crappy show that I was watching, which it means if I'd rather watch a show about sexual assault than a bunch of pretty people running around on an island. That's saying something. So, anyway, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying if you liked this review, please hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at YESSHH8, that is Yesh8. Or you can look me up. Rob Stone, a.k.a. Smirking Gun Reviews, also works. So, anyway, we will be back. Maybe more of these. I'm going to be uploading more Borderlands 3 gameplay. Yeah, it's a stark difference, like going from this to playing Borderlands. We've got Batman the Animated Series just went up. My Powers of X #4 comic book review just went up. Got all sorts of stuff on the channel. So feel free to check out any of that stuff. And like and subscribe and all that blah, blah, blah. So have a great day, and we will see you on the next video.